And then now, switch to the music. Never talk about the commitments in this interview again.
It's okay.
Yeah, you have a new album out now, but I was wondering, it's been 2.5 years since Burn the Maps. What are your thoughts on that album now?
On Burn the Maps?
Yeah?
I listen. I can't say I listen back to it. I don't listen back to it. I don't listen back to our records at all. It's a really strange thing. Like, you make them and then you just don't listen to them ever again. So I don't know. I can only really judge it as a bunch of songs and as a memory. It took too long to make. It just took too long. It was too. It was. For me, it took the joy out of recording. For me, I've developed a phobia to studios because we spent so long in a studio making that record.
How come? How come you spent so long?
Insecurity. I feel that I kind of just, we had a bunch of songs and I just wasn't happy with them, and it almost, whatever kind of perfectionist or whatever is in any of us kept us going back into the studio and re-recording it. It took us, a couple of years to make that record. We recorded it in like 4 different studios, and I just think we were lacking confidence, and I think that's what makes records drag on. That's what makes any creative process drag on, because you're terrified of getting it wrong.
But was it the first time you had this feeling, or within the frames?
Yeah, within the frames it was. Yeah, for the Birds we made very fast.
But how come? Do you now, when you look back on it, do you have an explanation why, especially for this album, for Burn the Maps, you had that insecurity?
That feeling?
Yeah.
No, there's no real reason for it except that whatever was going on in our lives at the time, or in my life, I suppose.
Which was?
I can't remember. Life goes by and you just kind of get on with it. I don't know. I can never really have any comment about anything other than the present. I don't really know. It just took a long time to feel good about the songs, to feel like it was a coherent record. And then with this record, it was the opposite. With this record, it was like, let's go make a record really fast. Let's not think about it too much. We've got the songs, we're a good band, let's just go do it. Let's not think about it, let's not talk too much about it. And we did that, and it really worked.
But were you afraid? Because you had the previous experience,
I'm afraid of the studio only because I don't like it. I get bored very quickly. I don't have a lot of attention. I'm not a techno type, so generally speaking, when the band are sitting there listening to the bass drum and spending 2 days getting it to sound really good, generally speaking, I'd prefer to be doing something else with my time, So I don't like the studio particularly. I like to come in, I like to play my songs, and I like to get out, because capturing a song. A studio, generally speaking, is not the right environment to capture a song. A stage would be the right environment to capture a song because it has an audience, it has space to breathe, it's in a bigger room. Studios tend to be confined laboratories where songs come to get murdered, and I kind of feel that studios reek of death because they reek of other bands that have been in there and spent way too long making records and killing their songs. So for me, studios are just somewhere I don't really like being in. Plus, it's a bit like sleeping in a hotel room. The dreams of the people who've been there before can sometimes stay in the pillows and sometimes stay in the room, and the atmospheres of arguments or the atmospheres of joy or sex or whatever can sometimes be in the room when you get there, and it isn't always necessarily a comfortable place. And I feel that studios are like that. They're like hotels for songs and for bands. And with this time I just thought the less time I spend in the laboratory, the better chance the songs have of coming out alive. And so we did. We went in and I played the songs. We recorded them really fast, and I got out of there. And so I was able to listen to the album with a sense of clarity and a sense of joy, rather than, oh my God, like there's the 15th take, and remember how frustrated I was by the time we had got to that moment.